Hi everybody, and welcome to You Can Cook Anything with Bob and JP. I'm Bob, and today we're going to do something special. A good friend of mine, Brian, requested that I make chili. He's got some competition to go to next week and was hoping to pick up some tips. So Brian, this is what I would do to make a really killer chili. This isn't the chili I would normally make, but it definitely is a chili that I think could help you. But keep in mind, I've never been in a chili cook-off, and I reserve the right to not get yelled at later if you fail. So let's go through what I think are the basic ingredients you need to get through this chili. Tomato puree, garlic powder, onion powder, crushed red pepper, tomato paste, garlic, it's okay to be lazy and get it peeled, a fresh jalapeno, jars of salsa, 2 of them, black pepper, preferably freshly ground, a beer, preferably not something dark, preferably pretty light and not too bitter. You need meat, so we're going to do a single pork chop. We're going to do some sirloin. We're going to some beef chuck stew meat. These are the extras that I'm going to add in and see if we can make this special. Fish sauce. I've talked about this before. It's essentially anchovies and salt. And if you look at an ingredients list and you see anything but anchovy and salt, put it back. That's garbage. We're going to bring a little of that because it brings this crazy flavorfulness that they call umami that you probably all have heard of. You can't really get from anything else. A little soy sauce. It kind of does the same as the fish sauce. And then we're going to throw in a Portuguese sausage. These are chicken chorizo. They're not Spanish chorizo, they're Portuguese chorizo. Since I'll be serving this on Super Bowl Sunday, I figured I'd make something I want to eat. So for you, Brian, these 3 meats are critical, okay? The pork, or even lamb, you're going to want to make sure, I'll show you how to cook down the bone, but you're going to want a little of this meat in there for a different texture. You're going to want sirloin, because it's super beefy, and it's got a really nice mouthfeel. And then you're going to want chuck, because it's got a lot of this connective tissue that's going to bring mouthfeel to the party, and a lot of good beef flavor. You're going to want cumin seeds. If you can't find them, just get cumin powder. And the last thing you need is chili powder. All right, let's get started with the preparation. There is one other thing that you'll need, and that's corn chips. I'll show you what we're going to do with those, but you'll need corn chips. Or if you can get masa, get masa. This pork chop, we want to get this bone out, so we're going to cut the meat out of this. Now, this is actually the tenderloin and the loin. So this is essentially a T-bone. This pork chop is a pork T-bone. So we're going to cut this out like that. Cut around that meat. So first, let me introduce you to a Dutch oven. So this is a really, really heavy metal pan that's coated in enamel, okay? If you don't have one of these, cook your chili in a slow cooker. If you don't have one of those, cook your chili in a pressure cooker. If you don't have one of those, cook it in a pan, but know that you're gonna have to stay on top of it. The nice thing with this Dutch oven is we're gonna start on the stove and we're gonna move into the oven. So first, we're gonna get this hot. The only other ingredient we didn't talk about earlier is oil, because we're going to need a little to fry the meats in. The last thing that's not an ingredient so much as a necessary part of this is obviously we have to salt everything. So I'm actually going to keep the salt right close by, because every time something goes in, you salt it as much as you would salt it when you put it in your mouth, but saving some room for extra salt later. You don't want to get too salty up front. So we're going to get this nice and hot, and it's already pretty hot. So we're going to do the meat in batches, because this is actually important. This is a key part to making this chili stand out amongst other chilies, is you want to cook the beef and get some good flavor going on it before you just throw it in there and let it simmer. This will cause a thing called the Maillard reaction. That is essentially a reaction where proteins get burned, and as a result, they create new flavor compounds. So let's just throw one in there. All right. So we added water to get all the good stuff off the bottom before it burned. Now we're going to start putting all the other things in there. It's tomato puree. We're going to put that in here. Okay, tomato puree in. Next, we're going to add the salsa. Salsa in 2 jars. Wow, that salsa. Oh, that smells super good. This chili is going to be awesome. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is a little screw up. Don't make this mistake. I guess when I was grabbing it, I grabbed black bean and corn. Why is that a mistake? Brian, if you make a chili that has beans in it, that's not chili. So, oops. That's the one I was hunting for. I guess I just grabbed the wrong one. All right, so now that we have those in there, let's just quickly stir them. I want to see how much we've got. By the way, you'll notice I did not cook the sausages. It's because I really don't want to extract as much flavor out of those. All right, so now let's put the sausages in. Let's put the meats and all their juices back in. Those juices are important. Don't go straining it. Let's mix that and see what it looks like. Oh, yeah, that looks good. Okay, next, we're going to bring on the spices. All right, so we're going to add fresh garlic, but we're going to put a little garlic powder. Okay, so that's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons is I think would make me happy here. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of the smoked paprika. Yeah, that's enough. Oh God, that smells great. 1 teaspoon of the onion powder. Actually, I'm gonna make that 2 teaspoons. So 2 teaspoons of the onion to go with the garlic. And then be careful adding the crushed red chili peppers because you're gonna put the jalapeno to it. And if you're looking for a 5 alarm, go nuts. But I'm gonna use just about a half of a teaspoon, just to a quarter of a teaspoon to get things going here. Now let me take you over to show you how we're gonna do the rest of the spices and then the other pieces of seasoning. Okay, so next we're gonna work on the cumin seeds. And I mean, you can toast these. It brings out a lot of flavor when you toast them. I'm just not going to. So I'm gonna put what is essentially a teaspoon of the cumin seeds in a mortar and pestle, and I'm gonna grind them up. If you just get the powder, put at least a tablespoon of powder. Yeah, start with a tablespoon. You can add more later as you taste it. I wouldn't add much more than that, but when you use the fresh pods, man, if you could smell this smell is ridiculous. Okay, now that we're done with that, we have a pretty good powder. I'm going to toss that in the chili. Then we're going to toss in a tablespoon of our chili powder. So you'll notice I didn't cook the garlic at the bottom of the pan because I actually want a strong garlic flavor. I actually think this brings a nice fresh garlic flavor to a chili. Interesting fact about garlic, the more you cook it, the sweeter it gets. It's actually one of the sweetest substances on earth. You can look that up. But I got that from a friend that I made years ago who was totally sugar fiend. He was from France. He was such a sugar fiend that the dude had actually tasted formaldehyde just to see how sweet it was, because it is the sweetest substance on earth. So if he says garlic is one of the sweeter substances on earth when it's cooked, tough not to believe the guy. All right, next we're going to do the jalapeno, and I am putting gloves on for that. The one thing about capsaicin, which is the chemical in these peppers, is it binds to your skin. So once it's on your hands and you touch anything else, you're going to know that you have capsaicin still on your hands. And soap and water is not an effective remover of capsaicin. So all I did was slice kind of around it, because here's what I want to do. One, I'm sure you all know, get the seeds out. So yeah, we definitely want to get the seeds out. First of all, they're just gross because they're hard. You don't really want to eat them. 2, you see these white things, these veins? There is literally a ton of spice in there. So here's the deal. You want a ton of spice, leave the vein, don't leave the seeds because it's nasty, right? And then the other thing that has a ton of heat is this thin, clear lining on the inside. So if you want the flavor of jalapeno without all the heat, you want to lay this flat and run your knife this way, okay? And peel that skin right off and throw it out. And then you'll have, you can almost see here. See how it gets deeper to the green? So you shave this off and you lose a lot of the heat. Don't forget, not every jalapeno has the same amount of heat in them. So you may pull the skin off and still get a super hot jalapeno. It's just because that jalapeno is super hot. So I'm gonna do a little piece just to demonstrate. All right? So that's super hot skin, burn face. This is less hot, super sweet, nice jalapeno flavor. So I'm just gonna take off the pith vein, because that's nasty. My grandfather used to eat the pith of an orange. I eat the pith of an orange. Grapefruit. It's weird. It's kind of fun to eat, but I don't want it in my chili. So take that off. Try our best to leave most of that skin on, because this has got to be a spicy chili. All right. Oh, the other thing, the more you cut this up, the more spice you release. So I once diced it really, really fine, thinking, oh, that's good, it'll be spread out. Nobody will get a big bite. My chili was nuclear hot. Nuclear. Pretty much nobody could eat it. I think it was JP and I ate it at one of the parties. All right, so we're going to take these, and I'm going to go toss it in the pot. Yoink. In the pot. So the next two ingredients, that's the soy sauce and the fish sauce. And I'm actually not going to use the soy sauce right away. That's going to be something I add at the end if I think we need it. Is literally 6 or 7 drops. It brings this mysterious saltiness that does not taste like fish. And if you're not the one washing the dishes, you have that I cook you wash thing, make sure you tell who's ever washing that you did this, because they're going to wash it, get it all over their hands, and then they'll be screaming that they're on fire. All right, let's go finish up with the last two ingredients. Next, we're going to add some black pepper. I'll say that's about a half teaspoon. Then last is the beer. The masa and the corn that I told you about earlier, that doesn't get used till the end. You don't want to put that in now. You may not want it at all. It's another one of those things. Oh, you gotta taste the beer. Seriously. If you taste it and it's too bitter, don't use it. If you taste it, it's too malty, don't use it. If they sold you skunky beer, don't use it. If you don't taste it first and you just put it in, you're in trouble. Now, if you don't want any alcohol, because no matter how much you cook it, some will remain, don't use it. There we go, 1 bottle of beer. Now let's just stir this all up. Now that tomato paste, you're gonna hold on to that too, because if you get good quality tomato puree, you may not need it. And right now, this actually has a very nice consistency. This looks like decent chili. I can't wait till this is done. Okay, no more salt. No more ingredients. So about 30 minutes has gone by, and that's what we've got. That's actually really good. So what we're going to do is give it a quick stir. I'm really scraping at the bottom. This is important because a lot of that flavor stuff is on the bottom. I want to get it up here. And then, see it? That's actually good flavor stuff. So we want to make sure it kind of stays in as much as we can. Okay, so let's take a look at how it looks after a little while. Oh, damn. That looks good. All right, the secret to an award-winning chili is cooking it at least a day early. So we're going to throw this in the fridge, heat it up tomorrow, try it again, and see if it needs any adjustments. Don't adjust it until then. All right, let's see how it is. It's a little undersalted, not by much, so it leaves some room for the chips. It's got a great smoky flavor, a lot of chili, a lot of meat flavor. This is outstanding. This is what you want. So Brian, follow these directions and you'll end up with a killer chili like this. It's got a little spice. If you want it spicier, throw another jalapeno, throw a habanero, throw some killer hot sauce. Other than that, this is a huge success. Super Bowl party's firing up here, so I'm going to take off. Thanks everybody for watching. Please don't forget, subscribe and click the notification bell next to it if you wouldn't mind. That way you'll know when we have new episodes. We're trying to do this weekly. Also, most importantly, do what really inspired this video. Leave a comment. Tell us what you'd like to see us cook. Tell us if there's something that you tried, maybe you modified it, you liked the way it came out, you didn't. The comments are really valuable to us. So again, thanks very much, and don't forget, you can cook anything. Thanks.
I'm a cameraman now, not just a chef.
Umi, you want a bite?